Hi, everyone. I am Linda Welbrock, the founder of Leading Women Entrepreneurs, and we have an incredible honoree with us today. Her name is Lisa Marks Canty, and she is the president and founder of Nest Global Solutions. So, Lisa, welcome and congratulations, and tell us all about what Nest Global Solutions is.
Thanks, Linda. I appreciate it. It's great to be here, and it's great to be awarded this amazing honor. So Nest creates efficiencies through its technology for front, middle, and back office financial services. More specifically, we are trying to automate and bring efficiencies to the residential real estate industry by providing services that technology services that enable individuals to save time, create efficiencies in manual labor, and use technology for the betterment of their processes, for their financial income, for for the greater good, of their services.
Well, you are building an incredible company and companies. You're balancing a lot of different roles as a mom, and you're just doing, so many amazing things. How do you continue to stay motivated?
I wake up motivated as soon as I see my daughter, who is 12 years old, and she occasionally sleeps in my bed and comes in, and people will say to me, "Why do you, still, allow your kids to sleep in your bed every once in a while?" And I say, to be honest, it does. That's one of the biggest motivators that I have is my children. My second is my husband. But looking at my kids in the morning and allowing them to see me build a company, provide services for the betterment of society through nonprofit, through doing various things that I do in my life, not outside of work. It's just being motivated on a daily basis by my kids that constantly look me in the eyes and say, sometimes I'm proud of you, or notice the hard work that I'm putting in, and we'll just say, "Hey, mom, why don't I order a pizza?" It's little things like that when they offer to help, or to they're like, "Oh, you're tired, why don't I do this?" It's those little moments, and I just find every day I'm motivated by my kids more and more.
I think a lot of mothers would agree with you and definitely empathize with that, as we're trying to create these worlds that will make our kids proud of us and easier for them. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you have really reached a level of success that's representative of what so many entrepreneurs dream to be. So how do you define success, and what do you credit your success to?
This is an interesting question for me, because I remember leaving a position where I wasn't an entrepreneur in that state. I was actually working for a company, and I was a account manager, managing various accounts and making tons of money in business development. And I was making money, and people would think sometimes money defines success. And I was looked in the face by one of my now investors in my new company, but he's also a very close friend of mine. And we're sitting there in a restaurant, and he said, "Lisa, why are you leaving your company? You're doing so well. And why are you starting something new?" And the first thing out of my mouth was what people would normally say: "Well, I want to make more money." "Well, why are you starting a new company?" "I want to make more money." And he looked at me in my eyes and he said, "It's not the money. You know that, right?" And I said, "I do, but it's something inside me. I have to do this. I have to take this dive off of the diving board. I know I'm making a lot of money. I could make more, but I need to leave behind a legacy." And the words came out of my mouth. And I said, that's really what it is, because I could have made more money, uncapped income, being in business development. I was in process improvement. I was working as a consultant. It was endless. But I needed to define myself, because the motivating factor in my life previous to my kids was my mom. And my mom, and she had passed away from stomach cancer in 2017. And around that time is when I made that change again. I've been an entrepreneur, massive entrepreneur, for a number of years. But in 2017, this light bulb moment went off, and I said, I really have to do something for my kids. I have to do something for myself. I want to make my mom proud. What does that mean? And it really is a legacy. I want, when it's all said and done at the end of the day, right? And my mom passed away at the age of 59. And she left behind a great legacy, because your kids are your legacy, right? So if I can leave anything for my kids, it's being able to teach them various things. So if my daughter becomes an entrepreneur, my son decides to be strong and motivated because he sees me being that, that's the legacy I want to leave behind. So by just making this jump from working, right, for an individual to, or, for a company, and then building my own company, just that message, what it sends, starts to leave a legacy behind for me. So when, again, future state with my daughter, and she's sitting there with her kids and her grandkids, and she talks about me, that's what I want to leave behind. If I'm not successful in business by driving revenues, but I've tried this, it's worked. It's worked to a point, whatever that is defined with Nest or anything else that you do in life. For me, my success is going to be driven by the fact that my children say, my mom did this. She succeeded at making it happen, and making it happen could have all other types of variables associated to it. But that's how I define success.
Well said. And again, legacy is something that we should all be thinking about, right? And it could be, doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar company. There's so many ways that we can leave this world and make it a better place for definitely our children and families, but the world in general. So thank you also for shining the light on that word, which I think is really important. So I had the great opportunity to do a retreat with a very special friend and colleague, Ellen Spragans, who wrote a book called Letters to My Younger Self. And this was a few years ago. It was really powerful. And I know, as a woman who has, created these startups, if you could time travel back to give your entrepreneurial self, a 15-minute pep talk about, how to save yourself, maybe some glitches or mistakes you may have made along the road, what would that advice look like? What would that letter be?
So it's interesting, because that question, everybody talks about sliding door moments. And I don't know if you remember that movie, Sliding Doors, where she makes the train or she doesn't make the train. And it shows you what would happen if you made the train versus not making the train. If I were to go back, I think there's only one sentence I would write on a Post-it for myself, because I think I wouldn't pay attention to somebody telling me something or a long letter. So it would have to be a Post-it. I've always been the person, even in my past, in my history, of being so, I would say, just excitable, but driven by this motor that just says, be a success, do what you can, be the best that you can at whatever you do, whatever you're doing, it could always be better. I've always just been driven. There's always projects and things that I've done. And I think the one thing that I would write on that Post-it, which would be, take an hour to relax every day. Shut everything off, right? The phone, the camera, the computer, life in general. Sit in an empty car with no music on and just relax, because I think that constant, the anxiety buildup, being emotional, being excitable all the time, being driven by the fact that I have to get that last hour in to type an email, to get that next client, to talk to this investor, do this. There's always something else to do, and your list keeps piling up. I would just say, take an hour for yourself. Take an hour for yourself. Go into the car, take an hour for yourself. That's the only thing I would say, because I also think that your mistakes define you. So I don't think I would actually tell myself anything else other than that, because I do see life as these sliding door moments. And if I didn't go to India to start a company, 17 years ago, I don't know if I would have had my son. Things would have happened differently. I don't know if my life would have, transitioned where I would have met this amazing man that I've met, in Ireland and from Ireland, and how we'd have this life and the motivations that I have that define my success today would happen. So that's the only thing I would do is that one Post-it, which would say, take an hour for yourself and relax.
I hope women hear that. And I hope especially young leaders hear that, because we know that that is some valuable advice. It sounds simple, but it is profound. And again, I think I would definitely write the same Post-it to myself. I'm guilty of doing too many things too late. So anyway, I
Yep.
have had such a pleasure interviewing you, and I appreciate your time. And we can't wait to celebrate you as a top 25 leading woman on October 28th. So until then, we wish you all the best, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it.